guys, welcome back to another powerful episode of the J&B Live Podcast. I am Dr. B. We're going to discuss democracy on mute because the silence we're living through is real, guys. Whether it's AI driven impersonation scams like the recent one that was targeting Marco Rubio. And in this particular one, U.S. officials were fake with his voice to trick them. Or you may have Elon Musk out there launching the American Party to challenge both Trump and Biden's hold on Congress. This is democracy being tested, guys, in real time. Broker J3, let's get into it.
Yes, great opener, Doc B. It's real, it's raw, and it's ours, guys.
Yes.
From AI voice, morphs, scams, to new parties, crashing the stage. Your silence today can echo into tomorrow's laws. Hit that like, tap the screen, send those gifts, and let's amplify democracy live, guys.
Yes.
We're going to go ahead and start off with the silence that screams why voter turnout is plummeting.
Yes, guys, we've got to get involved. Recent polls, like, for example, the NPR, we've got the PBS poll, and we have the Marist poll, show 73% of Americans now think democracy is under threat because of rising political violence. It's gone mad. And yet we're still watching turnouts plummet during the midterms. We're going numb. Nobody's going out to vote.
And it just doesn't make sense. In local races, the turnout reaches single digits last cycle. That's ridiculous, guys. But guess what? That's where decisions around housing, policing, and schools are made. We stay at home and let others decide our fate. Guys, I hear people talking all the time about how I voted for the president, I voted for the president, I voted for the president, but nobody shows up for the midterms.
Yeah.
I keep telling you guys over and over again, the president does not make these decisions. The president signs these into law. That's why with his big, beautiful bill, what he want to call it, that chaotic bill, it had to go to the House and then the Senate before he signed off on it. The House and the Senate, those are the midterms. Those are the elections that you need to show up for, because if you don't, you're going to have the party that does not care anything about you, the ones that want to cut off Medicare, cut off the SNAP programs, literally just so billionaires can get a tax break. That's where the midterms come in, guys.
And then some of you guys are going to be out there like, well, I voted in the general election, so when it comes down to the little primaries, you're going to say, well, hey, I'm not going to vote. I don't know those people. My voice is not going to count. You still need to be voting. If they have an election in your county, you need to be voting. So, guys, just remember, apathy, that lack of interest, has a cost. And do your research. If you don't believe us, there was a recent seminar at the Johns Hopkins where they did, it was called a democratic erosion. They saw firsthand where federal funding was getting ready to be cut and there was policy chaos. Guess what it was triggered by? Silence. Nobody's saying anything. Everybody's just silent.
Exactly. And we can't be in the dark and expect light, guys. In business, no presence means no power. Democracy's no different.
Let's get out and vote and let's show up. We got, guys, I need you to tap that like. I need you to hit the give. I need you to follow us on that live with J&B, because staying connected is how we are going to mobilize.
Now let's get into this disinformation nation, how lies become law, because we've seen so many times now where, I'm just going to call it out, the Republican Party right in your face will tell you some information that is not even true at all. Just like the current president was telling you he didn't know anything about Project 2025, never heard of it before, but yet everything he's been doing since he's been in office is following the playbook of Project 2025.
Yes, it is, guys. So AI is everywhere with misinformation. In other words, there are those algorithms that are out there. They're going to tell you on all of the social media outlets what you want to hear. So you've got the deep fake robocalls. You got the synthetic audio, like the Rubio scam that I mentioned earlier. They're all shifting the narratives. In other words, they're telling you what you want to hear, but you got to do your research. You got to decode through all of that craziness, all of that chaos, and find the facts.
Yeah, and then think about it and add Elon Musk's rule of thumb, free speech absolutism, whatever that means, that he got posted on X. And then you got the wildfires. And then you got the lies that go viral and the facts are lagging. You know, Musk's new party that he's starting, that he's launching, it only accentuates that.
Yes, it does. And don't forget, guys, this is theater that's designed to divide us. In other words, they change the narrative based on what they want us to hear. When legislation gets marginalized, they win. That's why you have to pay attention and research the facts so you know what's going on in your community. And we talked about it earlier. Democracy is mute, so therefore you have to regain your power and you have to use your voice to vote.
Exactly. And guys, we already know in business, we dig into those contracts. We read through it to make sure everything is as it is. That's the same way in democracy, guys. We have to vet the information that's being fed to us. We have to read. We have to fact check.
Yes.
We can't just repost something that we see and don't even know whether it's real or not.
Exactly. You want to follow your government fact checkers. You want to take a look at the Mythbuster pages. There's plenty of them out there. And don't let all of that disinformation dictate your direction. In other words, you hear it and you just run with it. No, you got to research it to make sure that those facts are accurate.
Exactly, guys. So we'll appreciate you guys tuning in. We want you guys to continue to tap that screen. We want you to follow.
Thank you.
And continue to send those gifts, guys, because everything, it really helps to keep what me and Doc B got going on here with J&B Live for you guys. So just follow us at Live with J&B, because informed voices break through the noise, guys. We're going to get into this scenario real quick about what we were just talking about. I didn't vote. Now my neighborhood is unrecognizable. Let's talk about it, Dr.
Guys, so let me give you a real one. We're going to keep it real. That's what we do. We have James, who is a father of two in Atlanta. He skipped voting in the last year's municipal election because he said he was too busy working 2 jobs. And he said, it's always the same people anyway, so I'm not going to vote. Okay, let me fast forward. His apartment complex is being bought out for luxury condos. The barbershop that his son goes to was bulldozed last week, and his kids were rezoned to a school 45 minutes away. He told a neighbor that everything changed overnight.
But you know what, guys? Here's the truth. Those changes were decided months ago in zoning board meetings and city council sessions. And guess what? Barely 9% of registered voters ever show up to those meetings. It's not just that James didn't vote. It was the silent majority that let a vocal minority control the agenda.
And see, that's exactly what they do. They sneak in and they do these things. But guess what? Because they know we're not going to attend. They know the majority of people are not going to attend those elections, attend those meetings and vote. And now with developers like those who supported that little fast track bill in Georgia that was designed to accelerate gentrification by skipping community reviews. These things are happening legally. In other words, they don't have to bring that gentrification to your knowledge. They can just do it. And quietly, guess what? Because no one was watching, or no one is watching them.
That's right. And when we're not present, you know what? Profit takes priority over people. You know, I tell my real estate clients all the time, the laws that let your rent skyrocket, they didn't fall from the sky. They were voted into existence.
And then sometimes, Broker J3, when you're riding through the Atlanta area, you go through those areas that you know were predominantly black at one time. And you can see how it's shifting.
Yeah.
You know, it's shifting to where now, you know, I hate to say it, but white Americans are going to own most of that property. And the black people, what? They won't be able to afford to live there anymore.
No, most of them can't. And for some of you guys that are in the Atlanta area, you know, you see Bankhead changing, Northside Drive, you know, West End is no longer predominantly African American anymore. You know, it's you see these going on, and you're like, wow. You know, I would have never imagined. You look at Memorial Drive, Moreland. You know, predominantly black areas. Now they have mid rises that's all over the place, starting at $400,000-$500,000, where you used to have homes that was ranging from barely $100,000. Now the people that lived in those areas can no longer live in the areas anymore.
And sometimes what they'll do, guys, they'll tear down that little house that was on there that was probably $30,000-$40,000, or they probably got it for a little or nothing, maybe less than that, and then they'll turn around and put a $300,000 house on there.
Exactly.
And guess what? That's forcing Black Americans, African Americans out of that particular community.
Exactly.
Okay, guys. Now, to those of you who are listening to this podcast tonight, much love to you. But you, say for instance, you feel powerless. This is why your voice matters so much, because silence does not protect your block; it gives it away. James, in this particular case, he's not alone, but we've got to learn from him. We've got to do better. When you know better, you do better.
Exactly. And that brings us to this particular segment right here, guys. Civic engagement versus civil disobedience. Let's talk about it, Dr.
Okay, guys. So let's go back and look at the June 14th No Kings protest. 5 million people across 2,100 cities were speaking against the authoritarian backsliding. You know, we don't want a king. That, you know, this was massive. But will they pass that energy to the ballot boxes? Will those same group of people get out and vote when it's time to have those elections? I hope so.
Well, that energy is powerful, Doc B. But marches without turnout, you know, are flashlights without batteries. You know, you got to follow it with action, guys. You know, and that was absolutely amazing how they showed the No Kings protests all over the United States. I mean, millions of people showed up. And, you know, of course, the president's birthday military parade, as you see, barely anybody showed up because they didn't feel that was necessary for our country. So will they show up at the polls to say, this is what we want, not this?
And see, if you don't show up, just like the cost of that his birthday party, that's all it was.
Almost $50-60 million.
That cost is being passed down to the taxpayers. I don't know who people think are going to pay for that. He's not going to pay for it. So that cost is being passed down to us, guys. We have to get out. We have to let our voices be heard. But just think about that seminar that I talked about earlier at Hopkins University. People, those seminars are going silent. People are not getting informed. They're not getting that information because we talked about the misinformation. But we cannot let that become the standard. We don't want that to become the norm. We've got to get out and let our voices be heard.
Exactly. So here's what you need to do. You need to march. Okay, you guys are doing that. Now, what you need to do next is vote. When they have those elections that's coming up, some of them side elections, like in Georgia, they have an election tomorrow.
Yes.
Now it's not a
Tuesday.
Tuesday. I'm sorry, Tuesday. It's coming out Tuesday. It's not a big election. It's one of those local elections. But you guys be there to vote. You know, midterms, be there to vote. Then you know what you do next? You protest. Then you petition. That's how we win.
Yes, and you don't know, and don't say anything when your Georgia power bill goes skyrocket. You can't say anything because you didn't get out and vote for I think it's the Public Service Commission. That election is a runoff. Is this Tuesday. You can't say anything if you didn't get out and vote. You just have to just take it. So guys, I want you to activate your home, activate your block, your neighborhood, and also your ballot box. Because civil engagement needs all layers, all 3 layers: the home, your block, your neighborhood, and that ballot box.
Exactly. So here we are now. What we want to know is the voices from the margins. Who gets heard through all of this?
Okay, all right. I'm going to give you an example. We have an Arizona record keeper that just shut down his misinformation responses, leaving vulnerable communities at risk. In other words, when people are spreading all of that misinformation in some states, guess what? They shutting it down. They don't care if you hear misinformation or not. So a lot of people are at risk because they don't have the facts. They have that fake information and they're just running with it.
Exactly, and that kind of move, it echoes Trump's effort to bring voting entirely under partisan control, guys.
Yes, guys. And so we've got the ID laws, we've got the closed polling, we've got the defunding boards, we've got limits on mail-ins because that's what he's doing right now. Like the ID laws, you got to have an ID to vote. This is all systematic exclusion. Some people consider it systematic oppression. Okay, but it's exclusion to the point that you've got to protect yourself. You got to get out there and vote. They just can't just say that they're going to do ID laws, closed polling, defunding boards. They have to pass a law that gives them permission to do those things.
And guys, and while we're talking about that, especially with the polling, the ID laws, you guys have to understand, what's happening is real. What they're doing right now in a lot of states, and I think they recently did it in Texas, what they're doing is they're rezoning. They're rezoning districts and areas so that it gives the Republicans more a majority in a state. You may have a state that may be predominantly blue, but they're rezoning it in a way where the Republicans will have more of a voice than the Democrats. And they're doing this without you guys at all. They're not even, they don't care about you guys. You guys don't have a voice at all with what they're doing because nobody's paying attention to it. They got you guys so into Diddy trial this going on that nobody's paying attention to what's happening behind your back. But here's the truth. Without those voices, policy loss is like a moral compass. You know what I'm saying? Democracy gets hollow, guys.
Yeah, so you have to pay attention. In other words, they're changing the narrative. It's the okie doke. That's what I call it. People are falling for the okie doke. They're so caught up in the other things that are going on, the other narratives, that they forget what's going on at home. So you guys, you got to stay strong. Like I said, we see you. We need you to stand up, and we need you to show up and be there when it's time to vote on those type of policies.
Guys, and we appreciate you guys that follow us. We want you to keep following us at Live with J&B.
Thank you.
Because your voice, your value is our mission, guys. We appreciate you guys, and thank you for your support. Thank you for the continued gifts. Thank you for tapping the screen.
Yes.
We appreciate it, guys, and we do have a gift. We're trying to reach.
Yes.
So we appreciate you guys.
For hearts, if you do the beans, we appreciate those. The likes, we appreciate everything that you do.
Yes, a gift goal. I'm so sorry, guys. We have a gift goal we're trying to reach. I'm sorry, guys. This topic is so real. It kind of, I got so caught up in it that, just made me not think for a minute because this is real, guys. We appreciate your support, but like I said before, your voice, your value is our mission. It's what we're really here for, guys. That's why we appreciate your support because you guys need to know what's going on, And then here's another scenario right here. A young lady named Nia, she felt like her voice was suppressed, but she said she fought back. Let's talk about it, Dr. B.
Okay. So Nia is a 27-year-old nursing student that lives in Milwaukee. She moved into a brand new district. She updated her registration just like she's supposed to do. But when she showed up on June the 18th to vote in the special school board election, her name was not even in the system. Now, does that sound familiar to anyone?
Yes, it does. It sounds very, very familiar. In fact, too familiar, especially with what's happening in Arizona, where the election administrator for the Maricopa County, it just shut down the disinformation response team. Come on now. Seriously?
Yeah.
That kind of abandonment leaves voters like Nia without answers or even protection, guys.
And they shut down the disinformation because they want you to believe the narrative. Okay? So, but Nia wasn't having it. Okay? She didn't just settle for the okie doke. She filed a complaint. She posted it online, which is what you should do. And she had some TikTok followers. She had about 90,000 views. She educated people on the provisional ballots, the voter ID rules, and how to file a formal grievance. She even connected with local groups that helped 12 other voters get counted that day. And that's what we need to do. Don't just sit on the sideline because you were stripped of your right to vote, you're going to get out there and you're going to do something about it.
That's right. Just don't settle, like Doc B said, don't settle for the narrative.
Yeah.
You know, Nia, she turned her pain into power. And that's what the model is, guys. You might get blocked at the door, but that doesn't mean you stay outside. You fight for your vote like your future depend on it. Know why? Because it does.
It does. And that's why the July 4th Free American protest wasn't just symbolic. People are now realizing, I hate they're realizing it after the fact, the election, but they're realizing the fight isn't just in the streets. It's in the system. It's the system that's in place. And just think about it, guys. When you have the Constitution that's already out there that we're supposed to follow, and people are not upholding the Constitution, that's a problem. And if we don't speak up now, guys, then we're going to end up writing about it later.
That's right. And we want to give another shout out to Nia, you know, and anyone else who's ever pushed back. You're not just voters. You know, you're protectors of our democracy, and we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. So, you know, what Nia did, basically, she was turning up the volume.
Yep.
So what can we do now, you know, like what Nia did, you know, to turn up the volume? What can we do?
Okay, guys, so we just came off of that July 4th Free American protest. There were 300 cities that reminded us that democracy can't take a nap, even on the holidays. We can't sleep. We can't afford to.
Exactly. The momentum's there, guys. So you ask, what's the next step? The school boards.
Yep.
The city halls. You have to show up, and you have to steer in the right direction so that you know what's going on.
Yes, attend those city council meetings, those board of education, those commissioner meetings, and then you have to have those conversations at home and with people that your family and your friends. You want to repost facts, share it with everybody. No fringe theories, it's the facts, because public literacy starts personal. Let your family and friends know what's going on, and then tell them to share it.
Exactly.
So that they share it with more people, so that information, that those facts are out there instead of that disinformation.
Exactly. And guys, if you have to use every platform that you got, and we're not just talking about the social media as Doc B was just talking about, we're talking about the church.
Yeah.
We're talking about the job. We're talking about at the gym. You know, you have to spark awareness of what's going on, guys.
Yeah, let people know so that people are aware. In other words, when people know better, they do better. So I take participation over perfection anytime. Just show up, guys.
Exactly. And guys, again, we appreciate you guys for tapping the screen. Please continue to tap that screen. Please continue to follow. Please continue to share the live, because somebody out there needs to hear this. Please continue to give those gifts. Again, we are trying to get our gift goals, so we appreciate all the gifts that you guys give us. It really helps the J&B Live Podcast go a long way. Let's stay loud together, guys.
Okay.
And right now we want to give a final thought on how we feel about this particular topic, Doc B.
Okay, guys. So we're going to, this is a call to action as well. Reclaim our voices. The silence that we talked about is not always intentional. It's always impactful. When we mute ourselves in the face of injustice, we've got disengagement, disillusionment. We giving away our power. Don't let anyone take your power away. Now, I am a life coach, guys. I've seen how silence can manifest in people's lives in self-doubt, hopelessness, and in generational trauma. But here's the truth. Your voice is your birthright. It's your tool for healing, for change, for transformation. Democracy is not perfect, guys. It isn't perfect, but it's pliable. It bends when we push. So push. You want to vote. You want to speak. You want to organize. And never let anyone or anything convince you that you do not matter. Your voice matters. You do. And you need your voice, and you need to be louder than ever.
Exactly, Doc B. That was absolutely amazing. And look here, guys. I'm going to keep it all the way real with you guys. This ain't just politics. It's personal. Every zoning law, every tax hike, every funding cut, that's money. that's property, that's livelihood. And in business, silence equals missed opportunities. So goes for democracy. If you're not part of the conversation, you're not shaping the outcome. We can't afford to be comfortable on the sidelines while decisions are being made that affect our pockets and our people. Y'all know I move smart in real estate, but I'm telling you, you're the greatest investment, and it's your voice. So use it, protect it, elevate it. Let's unmute silence, guys, and let's make some real noise.
Okay. All right, guys.
And we appreciate you guys for joining us today. Again, this podcast today was very real. And again, guys, check the information. Don't always believe what everybody tell you. Go check the information for yourself to find out that this is real, guys. This is happening in real time. And as always, I'm your boy, Broker J3.
And I'm Dr. B.
And as always, guys, let's talk about it.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you joining us.